Hello everyone, Matt from Model Minutes here and welcome back to the workbench for a quick unboxing today of this Emhar LaGG-3 in 1/72nd scale. So join me as I take a look inside the box and see what we've got. So I've never really experienced Emhar before. I've heard mixed things, and this was relatively cheap when I saw it online, so I thought I'd pick it up and see what it was like. So on the front then, we've got this artwork featuring a LaGG-3 in combat over what appears to be a desert. And down here, bottom left, we've got an item code of EM2002. 1/72nd scale up the top right, and it just says that it's a model kit in various languages. Requires assembly, does not include paint and glue. It's a pretty standard affair. Made in China on this edge here, and then flipping around, we've got an 8+ image here, and that the copyright for this dates from 1990. So immediately off the bat, we know it's not necessarily going to be a particularly modern kit. So on the back then, we've got a split image of the paint scheme, or one of the paint schemes that's included, with the upper fuselage and wings depicted on this side and the lower side here. It does say that it comes with 2 decals. It contains alternative decals to those illustrated on the box, and we've got a postal address down here. Just over here on the right hand side, we've got a little information about the actual LaGG-3. So let's get the box open and see what we have. So first impression is there's no bag. All your parts are loose. All your parts are loose in the box. So let's have a quick look at the instructions. And straight off the bat, there isn't much in the way of instructions. It's like an A5 piece of paper, all in black and white. It tells us there are 2 different versions, and it gives us different information. So this one is the first one, and that uses the box artwork, whereas the second one uses a slightly different artwork, but they seem to be basically the same. Green on the top, dark earth is the lighter shading, and underside is blue. So it doesn't seem to be any different. It's just that you get 2 different options, but with the same paint scheme. Would have preferred to have seen that in color, but again, it is what it is. So let's flip over, and now we've got our assembly instructions. Again, not much. Glue in our retaining pin for our prop. Glue in a couple of cockpit details. Wing parts go together. Cockpit details go in there. Wings get glued onto the fuselage. Don't glue in your prop so it can spin. Clear parts is your cockpit canopy, tailplane and radio mast. Then on the bottom you have the option to have your aircraft in a flying or on the ground with the wheels down. So no pilot that I can see, so it's probably going to be a wheels down build for me. However, that being said, I can see that there is actually a pilot included because the sprues are right next to me. So I might go for a wheels up and see if I can put a display stand in the bottom. So instructions leave a bit to be desired, but I'm sure that we could model through. Transfers then. So we have a relatively small sheet of transfers, and the paper has stuck to them. This has a feeling of like a second-hand kit, but I think that this is technically new. But I don't know, maybe we need to investigate that. So transfers, without dropping them everywhere, look to be moderately okay. They are a little bit thick. Printing is generally okay. It's not the finest. It feels very similar to like Mr. Craft transfers, but I don't necessarily think these will disintegrate because they look a lot thicker. But yeah, I think they'll work. But I have my reservations. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know who manufactured these, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Registry looks to be generally okay, so not the worst transfers that I've seen, but probably not the best. And then we'll have a quick look. We've got 2 dark plastic sprues, very dark grey, and 1 clear. So what have we got here, clear part wise? It looks like we've got a landing light on the wing. That's usually what that kind of shape is. Yep, so that's part number 26, which is a landing light on the wing. And then just here is the canopy. Canopy is a bit crude. The moulding is generally okay, a little bit of flash, a little bit of waviness in the plastic. The canopy lines are present, but they are very subtle. If you were going to mask this, you'd have to take your time and just make sure you get it in the right place. They're They are raised, but they're very, very shallow. They're basically a representation rather than anything else. But yeah, I think that'd be usable. And then we have our plastic parts. So 2 little sprues. And we'll look at this one first. This one has our fuselage halves on it. Right side of the fuselage, left side of the fuselage. Details are very sparse. There are some raised panel lines, but not much. Same with the tail surfaces. There we've got a pilot. Generally doesn't look too bad. I've seen worse, but he is a little bit crude. Massive ejector pin mark there in the back of him, but hopefully, you're not going to see that if you glue him in. And on the inside then, no cockpit detail internally. Mold quality is generally okay though. Not masses of flash, but there is some in a few places. Smaller details are relatively well reproduced. And the prop, that's not too bad either. I've seen considerably worse. So we'll then put that down and look at the next one. We have our lower wing surface with a small hint at some internal landing gear detail for the bays there. I wonder if there's any on the inside of this. No, there's none on the inside of there. Upper wing surfaces, again, very sparse in the detail department. Some panel lines, but very far and few between. And raised landing gear option and lowered landing gear option. But yeah, not too bad looking quality wise. Just a very simple kit. Detail is not particularly prevalent. I imagine when you built it, it looks relatively like a LAGG-3, but there's probably better versions out there. I'm sure there must be. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Plastic is a little bit flexible, doesn't feel greasy. So yeah, you could just crack straight on with that. What did we have? We had 2 sprues in a very dark grey plastic. Not much detail, but I think you'd be able to build a reasonable representation of the aircraft. I think I might be able to get an Airfix stand in the bottom of this one to make it fly, because there is a bit of a slot pre-molded in there, but there's no display stand included in the kit. We have 2 clear parts, one for a landing gear light or a landing light, and the other one is your canopy, but it's a little bit crude. We have instructions which leave a lot to be desired, but I think that if you take your time and you read them carefully and use photo or other resources online, you could potentially solve any problems you might have. And the transfers, they look to be generally okay. A little bit thick. Printing isn't necessarily as fine as other offerings, but they're okay. All of which comes contained within this box, which has quite nice artwork on the outside, if I'm honest. And I think the artwork will probably end up being used to help me decide how to paint this one. So let's talk a little bit about the history of the kit that I can find online. So as far as I'm aware, this particular boxing does date from 1992. I wonder if this is on continual manufacture in some way or another, but I can't seem to find any indications that this is a recent boxing or reproduction. It is possible that this dates from 1992. It is possible that this also dates from 2024 and was produced this year, but there's no real way to tell. If that is the case, it's been on production for like the last 30 odd years as it stands and as it exists as it is at the moment. But given the fact that the kit was complete, it doesn't hint to me that it is necessarily a second-hand offering. The age of the tooling, though, I think is a little bit older than 1990s, and it would, if my research leads me to believe, be a 1977 tooling from Frog. So potentially not a bad kit. Frog did make some okay kits back in the time. Some of them were better than others, and this one looks to be generally okay, but it is nowhere near the quality of kits that you could expect to purchase in 2023 or 2024. With that in mind though, how much did I pay for this? Well, I actually paid £4.50, so that's not too bad, is it? And looking around online, between £4 and £5 seems to be the going rate for this kit. And seeing as there is a going rate for this kit, and there does seem to be stocks out there of this product, it would lead me to believe my earlier assessment of the fact that this is something that's just in production and just exists to probably be correct. But if you know alternatively, do let me know in the comments. On the whole, I think this is a bit of a pocket money build. It's probably a little bit better than certain offerings from other companies such as Mr. Craft, but it doesn't quite hold a candle to other companies with more modern toolings in their range. But let me know down in the comments, what do you think of my review? Do you think my assessment was fair? And let me know any other suggestions for things you'd like me to feature. As always, a quick shout out to my channel members and patrons for the extra support they give the channel. A massive thanks to these guys on screen. If you'd like to join them, take a look at the links in the description. For more information on how to help the channel in other ways, there is, again, information under the video. The best way to support this channel for free, though, is by subscribing with notifications turned on so you never miss a modelling upload. Finally, though, the last thing to say is a massive thank you to you for watching this one, and I'll see you on the workbench again next time.